Crabs are found in many places around the world, but many are typically near salt or fresh water. They have thick exoskeletons, which protect their body from predators, and a pair of pinchers that are not only used to defend themselves, but also used for eating. Did you know that most crabs walk sideways instead of forwards or backwards like we do? Their style of walking is called crabwise. Let's get started on creating our own crab-like picture using complementary colors. Beginning with the end in mind, we're going to be using some texture and some complementary colors on this project. On your blue piece of paper, create a horizon line, the line that separates sky from ground, and then you're going to be getting some bubble wrap. On your bubble wrap, start applying white paint onto the bubbles for your bubble wrap. While your wet paint is on the bubble wrap, you can then turn it over, tap it gently onto your paper to create some really cool texture for your sky. When your paint is all gone, don't be afraid to reload or add some more. You might even see how Mrs. Foxen's able to use that paint multiple times to create the sky. Now with my sponge, I'm dipping it into white and brown paint together. Notice when I take my sponge, I am not swiping or wiping my paint onto my blue piece of paper, but instead, using my sponge, I'm dabbing it onto the paper to create a mixture of brown and white. This reminds me of the texture that you might feel in the sand. So that's why we're using different materials today to create texture and variety of color into our sandy bottom for our crabs to be. Okay, now once you're done putting your paint onto your paper, let's set that aside onto the drying rack and let's let that dry. Moving into making the crab. This is where we focus in on using complementary colors, colors that are opposite sides of the color wheel. So red and green, blue and orange, yellow and purple. Choose your colors wisely that you would like to use for your crab. Here's my yellow and purple example. Let's learn how to get started on making it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some blue and some orange paper to begin making my crab. With my pencil, I'm going to draw two curved lines that can be used for the eyes that are sticking off the edge of the crab's body. So the body of the crab is just left as a rectangle. I made two curved lines for the eyes, and now I'm going to glue those together. There we go. There's my eyes and my body. With my blue piece of construction paper, I'm going to cut that and cut out a big triangle, and I did that with two pieces of paper, and that can be used for my crab's pinchers. So again, that's two rectangles put together, cut out a triangle, and now I have my pinchers. For the legs, it's pretty simple. I'm just going to go ahead and add on some rectangles that I created with my scissors to make the legs. And lastly, I have some leftover pieces of white paper that you can use to create the eyes. With your Sharpie, create the eyes and also decide what you want to use for your facial expression onto your crab. When you've got those figured out, go ahead and glue those in place or draw those with your your Sharpie and glue those down onto your painting. Now that I have my crabs onto the ground for my project, I'm also going to grab some oil pastels for the time that I have remaining and start adding on some interesting things that might be used in a seaside picture. I'm creating a rainbow with my oil pastels. I'm also thinking about other things that might be along the seaside, like, maybe a sand castle. You could use a bucket or a shovel into your picture if you would like. What other kinds of things might you do when you're at the beach? What kinds of things might you see? And lastly, I thought I would make an umbrella to sit underneath for that big bright sun. That's something else you could add in your picture, couldn't you? A sun into your sky. There, that was a lot of fun creating my expression and my project today in my assignment. This is Quinn's as well. Thanks for watching. Happy art making!